All right, y'all, good morning. Welcome to the Coffee Run. It's John from ProCraps over here at Casino Gaming TV, getting our morning learning session in today, right? Here we go. Interesting morning today. A couple things happened on my show in the garage, and also Joe and some stuff from George last night. And I want to get into a little bit with y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch my screen here and let me ask you guys a couple questions. First of all, tomorrow, and I'll remind you this at the end of the show again today too, because I know people are going to be late arrivals here, but tomorrow, I'm working on it still. I should have a guest with me tomorrow. And I want tomorrow to be kind of a open forum, open Q&A. So any questions you've got for me or for whoever our guest is, line them up, get your questions ready to go and bring them so we can just have a kind of an open Q&A session tomorrow. Part of that, though, is this, and I've got some DI questions, and these DI questions are going to go for, I'm going to forward them over to Gargoyle and to Ed, because I know they're doing their DI journey thing starting up next Tuesday, or kind of continuing on next Tuesday. So questions that I've got about this are going to be, and I've got many of them, but here's a couple of them, okay? One, this came up, and I've talked to Gargoyle separately about this, and I want to get kind of some generalized thoughts on it, right? Which is, I see a lot of guys changing sets, right? You got this result, go to this set. You got that result, go to that set. And there's a lot of tinkering with the dice. And George from CY does this a lot, right? He's kind of known for, reading the dice result and changing the set based on that. So the question that I've got is this. What good does that do? And this is going to sound mean, but I don't mean to be mean. What good does that do if the dice aren't perfect? Like, in other words, if my release point isn't the same and the landing spot isn't the same and the velocity isn't the same, if it is the same every single time and I'm getting a bad result, then you could argue with me, sure, yeah, if it's all the same, then changing the set to start is a variable that you can use to have all that sameness result in a different result. That would make sense to me. But if my landing zone is different every time, or the dice are cockeyed or straight or whatever every other time, then if one throw is their dice are flying this way and one throw the dice are flying that way, back-to-back throws, what does the set change do? And that's a legitimate question. I want to know what that set change does. If you're not on plane and not consistent with the throw, how does changing the dice set account for that? Because you have all these other variables that are in place that are all right. You got, like, again, the variable of, grip, release, velocity, angle, spin rate, landing zone, all that, right? If that's all not the same, then I don't know where changing a set does anything. It just adds another dimension to it that makes it potentially more, not worse, but more confusing, I guess, to me as a person, right? How does that even play in there? And that's my question. I want to know what that look. And Gargoyle's saying nothing. You're pissing in the wind, which is good. I hope you address that in detail on Tuesday. I'd love to get what that really looks like to you all, because I'm watching a lot of this and I'm seeing, okay, you got that, do this. You got that, do this. And I'm like, wait a minute, the landing zone wasn't right or whatever. And I want to make sure that, that messaging is pure, right? Also, Joe today, and this is a favor from my friend Jennifer, the Justice Jen in chat here, was watching Joe's show today. And of course, Joe and I went live at the same time. Joe was on at 6. His throw was so long. I started during his throw and I finished my throw. He was still going. He had such a great throw today. But he was chasing the ATS. He was changing sets to chase the ATS, right? And ends up being kind of all over the place and not really hitting the pocket, right? My theory on this, and again, this is only me talking, my theory on that is don't chase the ATS. I don't know if the dice throwers out there, George and Ed and the other guys, if you all think that that's important to do. Do you chase the ATS with your setting and your throwing, or are you just trying to hammer the frickin' box and your mistakes become the horn numbers, right? Is that, or are you actually trying to set for a number? Like, that's kind of what I have a question of too, because that gets into this idea of, I know people say, as a DI or as a DC, I can't snipe or target numbers. Yet we're saying in the same breath, let me change my set to try and hit the 12. So are you targeting or not targeting? And I wonder if that can be a big mental distraction, like the ATS is looming, let me go change set and chase that too. Or the 3 or whatever, versus just do what you're doing. Like if you're in that pocket, stay in the pocket and make money in the box. And yeah, if one falls goofy, then maybe you get your ace deuce or something. Maybe that's me being neophyte in this whole thing, but that just feels to me like I'd rather limp into the ATS than try and snipe into it, because I think that can cause more if that can cause more problems, I guess, right? And the third question is this, and I've asked this question all the time: where does it all lead us? And this came up, it comes up all the time for me, right? And I will do a win craps episode here coming up. I'm not sure when I'll do it, but if you just take, and win craps luckily lets you do this, which is really kind of cool. You can take it and spread it out. You can say, look, there's a probability screen that says the 7 comes 16.67% of the time. I can change that to 15%, right? I can take basically 10% off of it, of the 7, and it will automatically move that throughout the other numbers. And I can say, look, take whatever that is off the 7, move it around the box numbers, but not the horn numbers. And let's just thicken the box up. Let's just say the rolls that weren't 7s all land randomly in the box, the 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. What happens when you do that? It's amazing. When you go to win craps and do that, what happens is you just go 160 across in half press, and probably 7 times out of 10, you win $1 million. Like, it literally never loses. It'll just go off forever. Once in a while, you catch a bad little run there. But by and large, if you can move the 7 away by 1 and make that randomly jump into the box numbers, win craps will go here. It's incredible what happens when you pull it off. And I'll show it to you. I'll do some live runs, and you'll be like, oh my God, that's why the guys are trying to throw no 7s, right? That's the whole reason for it. My question is, and this came up last night from Jalanpan over on George's channel. He was asking me to do some analytics on stuff, and the question that comes up is what's the betting plan? Like if you have an SRR of 6.5 or 6 or 7 or 8, I can show you that just going across half pressing, you'll win $1 billion. What is the real betting plan from that? And I want to know from the guys that are logging their rolls and looking at Bone Tracker, what betting decisions are you making differently based on your SRR or SOR or BSR or your ability to throw? I would love to get into that. And I know that that's probably not the next show. Their next show is going to be on mechanics, I think. But honestly, I want to know, what is the betting? What changes do you make to your betting based on that? Ed put a video out yesterday where he was, I think it was yesterday, where it's the advantages is in throwing the numbers that you're betting on. Clearly, that's, 101 stuff, right? If you're betting on it, hopefully you throw it. But I would like to know, what is the change in betting mindset when you know what your numbers are? And I don't know if that's you're looking at different numbers as a spike, or just a general lessening of or flattening of that curve. Or maybe the curve, instead of being a perfect curve, maybe goes a little dip for the 7 like that. If that's happening, what are you doing? So those are my questions. I'm going to put them out here now. Let everybody stew on those over the weekend. And on Tuesday, when we have their live show, we can get some of those answered. I've also got some mechanics questions that I might jump into the chat and kind of poke a little bit with some mechanics things, because there's questions that I've always had. For example, I'll pose it to you now, Gargoyle. And you said this actually the other night very quickly. This was passed over like this, and I think this is an important thing. What I want to know about backswing, okay? And I know you throw from the deck, and what you said in the show was, I throw from the deck because the deck doesn't move. I think that's how you worded it. Correct me in chat if I'm wrong about that. I think that's what you said. I've heard other people say the exact opposite of that. You need to have a backswing, and I know this, and you all know this too, right? A pendulum will always right itself, right? A real string with a ball, it'll start out in a circle, but it'll always end up righting itself, and your arm will the same way too, right? Your body wants to be in alignment. I used to tell my hockey players and baseball players, so your body wants to be square. You start somebody out with their hips one direction and their torso a different direction, your body will always square itself up, always. I think in the backswing thing, the backswing is what helps get you square. If you backswing it and you come through, your natural body your physiology will try and make you square up, and that momentum can be the same every time, whereas starting from a dead stop and going, you're not going to always go at the same rate. And so I think the pendulum, the backswing part, can one, square you up, and two, keep your speed the same. I think that's why the guys do it. And I know that some folks believe no backswing, go from the deck. I hope you guys cover that, because I think that's an interesting question that I've always had. And I've read it in books and I've seen some videos on it, but nobody authoritative has given me an answer. So maybe that could be an answer that you all give too. So there's your homework, guys, for the weekend. I hope to see some of those things on Wednesday or on Tuesday night show. All right, let's go and move ahead into the daily paycheck recap, because this is interesting. And then I'll jump into the casino versus you, which I think is also hella interesting. Here we go. The odds maker now is 9-5. So again, we dropped a little bit, right? We were 8-4 for a minute there. We lost yesterday, won today. When the odds maker wins, it's easy, right? Every time we've won, literally every time I'm not lying. I'm lying to you. All but like 1 or 2 times of those 9 have been easy. Like out of the gate, set a point, set a don't point, hit the point, come out 7, done, right? That was today's roll, right? We had an 8 with max odds. We hit a 7 and easy squeezy, like no problem. That happens. We had 2 points. We had the point of 8, and then the point of 4, and then we come out 7, right? When it happens nice and easy. When it goes south pretty ugly. So far, so good, right? Look at our wins and losses are about the same. Now, this is, again, driving the same question as yesterday, which was the stop loss 0, 60% win goal discussion that we had. And I maybe didn't explain it well enough during the show yesterday. So let me go to my table view, and I want to show you on my table a little better what I was talking about. And let's see if we can, as a consensus, make a decision. So here we go. Let's go back to my table really quick. And I got a bunch of bankrolls there, but let's literally look at like this. And again, I always tell you to sort of consider a unit versus a dollar amount. But if we were to take and say, let's say we had 25 units. Okay, let's put a quarter out here, 25 units. And let's say they're all whites. Okay, and we had 5 slots of white. 5, 10. Let's go. 15. Do I have enough whites? 25. I do. 30. There's 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's $25, right? If I'm betting, if I have this much at risk, and I'm stop loss 0, that much at risk, and I say I'm going to win, put all 2,500 at risk to win 10%, which is 2.5. Let's just call it 3 units. Okay. If I'm looking to win 1, 2, 3 units, that's a huge loss for a little tiny gain. Our first paychecks that we were doing this. We were doing $1,000 at risk to win $100, and I lost $1,000 like 3 times, trying to get $100. Okay, now we're at 2,500, looking to win about 300, and this is where we find ourselves. And what I've discovered is that I'm not willing to do that quite so much. What I'm looking more to do is say, well, I'd like to limit my losses. I find that when I lose, if I'm on the way to $300 or 3 units in wins, I find that when I lose one, I'll take the top one. If I lose one of these, if I lose 1/5 of my bankroll, I start getting pissy. And I start getting like, oh my God, like that's not feeling good. I'm just gonna stop, right? Effectively, I'm putting myself on a 20% stop loss because I'm not loving where I'm at. I'm not throwing good. It's been too long. It ain't working out. 20% is enough. I'm walking away. And because I've been doing that, we have this nice win rate. We have this nice situation where we're 8-5 or 9-5, which isn't a good win percentage, but my losses have been scoped to no more than this. And it's helping me. Well, somebody says to me, well, if you're going to only risk really the 500, why are you buying in for 2,500? Why, or if you're only going to risk 5 units, why buy in for all 25 units? What's the point of that? Just buy in for the 5 units, right? And and I've been saying that for years, right? Stop loss 0 means if I'm only willing to lose 20% of my bankroll, then just buy in for the 20%. Just buy in for that little, what you're willing to lose and let it run, right? So that's where we are with this thing. We've been risking essentially, and go to the rack here, the first 5 units out of my 25 is what I'm willing to put at risk. The rest of it's there because it looks nice in the rack. And sure, if I have a really bad run and I get down into here somewhere, I lose $1,500, I got money left in the bank that I can keep trying with. But honestly, when you're betting at black level with $25 units and you get down in here, meaning you've lost $1,500, 1,500 times 4, that's 60. It's 60 wins you got to get back at a quarter level. You'll never get there. Once you get down in here, it's easy to lose 60 units. It ain't easy to win 60 units, I can tell you that. So the thought process is this: if I'm only willing to lose 5, let's just buy in for 5. Let's just buy in for 5 units, and either we're gonna win 300 or lose 500. That's the kind of the new mantra, right? Which equates to a 60% win goal. When y'all said I was nuts. I'm willing to risk 500 to win 300. That's the same thing as risking 2,500 to win 300. This is 10% of that. This is 60% of that. And if that's what I'm willing to do to lose this, to win that, I should only be buying in for this and leaving this in the bank. That's the general consensus, right? Take that out a step further. This also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. The $2,500 is 5 units, the same as $500 is $500 units. We buy in for 2,500 and make these units. We can take the same tactic and say, look, I'm willing to lose it all to win an extra 1, 2, 3 units, which is what I did today on the show this morning, right? You're gonna lose 2,500 or win 1,500, $1,200, whatever that comes out to be, right? That's what we're looking at doing. You can take that any direction you want. I can buy in for 1,000, right? In other words, 10 or 5 $200 units and look to win 300 out of that and make my bet sizes higher. So the bet size becomes proportional to your unit size. At black chips, we're betting quarters. At purple chips, we're betting blacks. Think about that, right? The stop loss should be 0, I think. Let me go back to the screen here. I believe stop loss should be 0, but I believe your buy-in should be what you're willing to lose. So if stop loss is 0, and I don't want to lose more than 500, I should just buy in for 500. Right? Not say 25% or 20% of the 2,500. So either I'm willing to lose 500, 1,000 of the whole thing and make our win goal 60% of that going forward. I just want to have the conversation. So I'm not going to make any decisions. I want you to think about that as you go forward here and put it in chat. Put a PC in front of it, put it in chat. What do you think of that? Right? If I'm only willing to lose 500, why am I buying in for 2,500? It makes no sense. It's just a feel good. Right? If I'm willing to lose a 2,500 to win 300, I should be willing to lose a 2,500 to win 1,200. Now that does remove or shrink the number of chances I get at it. But again, the more I lose, I'll never get it back. You're never going to grind back 60 wins, right? So either take your shot and win it or take your shot and bug out with a loss. That's my current thing. Anyway, there we go. $1,000 to win 300, Jen, is what I was saying. It's 1,000 to win 300. It would be about the same ratio, right? 500 to win 300, 1,000 to win 600 is what I meant. Again, keep the ratios roughly the same. 5,000 or 2,500 to win 1,200. So just think about it. If we're gonna go stop loss 0, then we have to increase the win goal. Is all I'm saying. Stop loss 0 with 10% is a non-starter. It's worked for us so far, but really. The big losses are too much to recover back 10% at a time. I think we need to increase the win goal. So bigger and quicker, says Jen. That's what I think too, right? All right, here we go. Let's get into the other fun stuff here, and then I'll start doing some comments here. Let's see. PC from Duracell says some say buy-in counts in some casinos. You know what? It's interesting. I get my glasses so I can see what you're saying here. You're right about that. It's different everywhere. Some casinos, let me say this emphatically. The buy-in amount does not affect your comp value. Okay, it does not affect your comp value at all. No casino will make that part of the calculation. However, the bigger buy-ins do give you the spotlight. Okay, so you buy in for 5, 10 grand or 2,000, whatever it is. They note that it's in your notes. In the casino, I'm going to have a casino host. I'm going to be, not host, a box that I'm going to be interviewing soon. who's going to tell us like, what does your note screen look like? You know, and for me, it's short, bald guy, right? And it has your average buy-in is on there. It doesn't affect your comps, but they know, okay, $500 guy, what's going to happen when you're a $500 buy-in guy? They give you a glance every so often, and that's it. They'll check your thing. Okay, he's a $60 player, and that's it. You buy him for $2,000, they're looking at your spread more often. That the spotlight on you is bigger. It doesn't count for your comp, but the spotlight on you and the amount of looks you get is bigger. And when you go back and say, what did you have me rated at? The $2,000 person, the $5,000 person gets a better conversation than the $500 person does. That's the way that works. So the buy-in does matter, but it doesn't actually affect your comps. I hope that makes some sense. I can verify that with you with the casino employee who knows later on. So, all right. Micro gambler, I totally agree with 100% stop loss where the buy-in is what I'm willing to lose in an attempt to reach your goal. And I think that's the way to approach this always is that the extra money that you buy in with, if you buy in for $2,500 with a 20% stop loss, you have a nice feeling there of stability, of safety, but you're also more apt, I think, to dip into the excess buy-in. And that's where, again, when you think about your brain, I'm willing to lose what I got. And when that thing gets small, I start clenching up a little bit and I play a little bit more tight. If I've got all this in arrears, I'm like, well, 20% stop loss, but I can go to 30 because I need extra whatever. Now you start irking into your money, and guess who's got you by the short hairs? The casino does. The casino is in your brain all the time. Everything that they do is into your brain. And I think that we have to get ourselves aligned, and that's going to bring us into today's topic perfectly. So your daily reminder of the core principles that I fight for and that I want us all to kind of embrace, which is this: goals being the North Star, strategy being the way that you make your money, your bankroll being the way that you account for your losses. Either your bankroll is there to sustain you for a long time, or it's there to give you bigger bullets, right? Your mindset is how you connect those two things, right? Am I willing to just be a stop loss zero guy? Or am I willing to be a 20% stop loss guy and then start drifting into my reserves too much, right? Discipline is how that choice gets made. And I think to succeed here, you've got to have knowledge. You got to have understanding of gambling theory. You've got to really be embracing of and willing to attack variance. I think that's where the money's made here. And I think being aware, being eyes wide open, those are the differentiators to me between a recreational gambler and somebody who's going to the casino to do work. And I'd like to think that most of us here, most of the time, are going there to do work. Sure, have fun, but you're there to make money. And you're not there to just, piss it away at a virtual bachelor party every night, right? So in this session, we're going to talk about your brain versus the casino. We've been talking about your psychology as a gambler, whether you're a conservative, whether you're an aggressive person, whether you're you're trying to play battleship with the casino, whether you're all about the math, whatever mindset you find yourself in. We've been talking about that, how that affects your bankroll, how that affects your play. I want to take a different circle on this thing and talk to you about how the casino and your brain are at odds. And I don't want to use the word advantage, but I'm going to use the word disadvantage. You're at a huge, I think, disadvantage when you go to the casino. And here's what I mean by that. The house edge is their guarantee. Every game has an edge. Every bet has an edge, and it's in their favor. And it's okay. I don't begrudge them that. I say this a lot. The house edge is fine by me, right? It's like the grocery store with their profit margin on the eggs being little, their profit margin on the ice cream being big, right? That's like you playing the pass line or you hopping the 12, right? Or hopping the sevens, right? It's huge vig, tiny vig, which is okay. The juicier things, the more they take. That's fine. If the store didn't mark up the ice cream, they'd never stay in business, right? If the casino didn't have a house edge, they'd never stay in business. We wouldn't be able to go there, right? That's their bread and butter. The house edge is their bread and butter. But here's the big point, and it's in white and bold. Degeneracy and lunacy are their dinner and their dessert. And there's this this gap. We're going to talk about closing the gap here today, which is this. I'm fine giving them their house edge. I'm fine making my bets. I'm fine losing the 1 or 2%, whatever it is per bet. You know it over time. We got to all be okay with that. We got to all, there is no edge to be gained anywhere in the casino. That's fine. Give them that. Don't give them the extra. Don't do dumb shit that gives them the extra. Don't get sucked into the allure, the romance of a casino. And I think today I want to talk about knowledge being power for you, okay? Arm yourself with knowledge. Know your game and know it well, okay? And we talk a lot about craps on my shows because I'm a craps player. It's my chosen game. I know everything about this game. I know all the odds. I know all the probabilities, and you better know odds and probabilities are two different things, right? The probability of an outcome versus the odds of winning a bet, two totally different things. You better know how to calculate both of those things. Know all of your payouts. Know your sucker bets, okay? That's true of craps. That's true of roulette. Do you know all the payouts in roulette? Do you know how the bets work in roulette? Do you know that betting a dozen and betting 12 individual numbers pays the exact same? Things like that you have to know. If you don't know that, do not walk up to the table. The casino sucks you dry when you don't know the game. And most people there, I can guarantee you, 80%, 90% of the people that are at that casino do not know the game they're playing. They're playing birthdays. They got random shit going on the roulette table. They're just watching the person next to them and betting what they bet in the Baccarat game because they don't understand it. In Pai Gow, they're like, 7 cards, what do I do? And they give their cards to the dealer and they say, will you set my hand for me? Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And the dealer sets their hand. If you're that person, get off the table. Go eat. Go to the buffet. Spend your $100 at the buffet. Don't spend your $100 at that table. You got to know your game. Arm yourself with knowledge. Knowledge is power. That's number one. Don't be the 90% who has no clue how the game works. Okay? Know your sucker bets. Okay, know the house edge on hopping the reds versus the any 7. There's a big difference between those two bets at higher levels, right? Know what the big 6 and 8 is. Know on craps what a put bet with odds is, and at what point the put bet with odds is better than a place bet, and it is better than a place bet at certain levels. You got to know these things before you hit the table. Knowledge is power. Don't be putting it out there because it sounds good. Okay, that's a big problem for you. It's dinner and dessert for the casino when people don't know what the hell they're doing. That's, again, they're making their spiff. They're taking dessert from the idiots who don't know what they're doing. Don't be one of those people, okay? The second thing is this, manage yourself. When I've been talking this whole month, this entire first part of the series about managing yourself, this is important too, okay? You go into a casino undisciplined, unprepared to play. Again, you're giving them more dinner and dessert, right? If you don't have a goal, if you don't know how to manage your money, if you haven't practiced your strategies to the point where you can do them with your eyes closed and know what your bets are, even the guys that play super math-based ways have a rhythm, right? It's a rhythm. It's $60 6 or $30 6. It pays 60 or 35. We're going to go to 60. We're going to place the heart. You're on a rhythm, right? Practice that rhythm. Know what you're doing. Every single bet. Know what the payments are. Bring a few strategies. You can switch if you feel like it, right? Play with discipline. Hammer the variant. Again, not hammering the variant, not playing with discipline, those are the two biggest things that I think cause people to A, lose, or B, not win enough, okay? Another one, be satisfied with your profit. Managing yourself. The adrenaline rush of winning big is huge. Be satisfied with your profit. I'm not saying in the middle of a roll to walk away. But what I'm saying is, by buying for $1,000 and you're on a hot roll and I pulled $500 off the table, you can bet your ass that $1,500 is walking off with me. No matter what happens, I'm locking. I'm satisfied with that $500. I'm not going to ever go back there and risk it. I may play some more, but I'm satisfied with what I've got. Some days it's a horrendous grind. It's 2 hours and you're barely up $40. Bye-bye. Sometimes you can't fight City Hall. Sometimes that's the variant that you're in. Is the variant you're in might be no variant. You might just be grinding. Cool. Be satisfied with that. Be fearless in your victory. Walk when you're up. And I say it here in bold. Play your game with your bankroll. your way. Those things have to match. Your game, your bankroll, your goals, your way. If any of those things is out of whack, you're going to have a mental problem and you're not going to be able to play with discipline. If you're playing an aggressive style with too small a bankroll, you're going to lose discipline. Trust me on this. You've got to connect all the dots we've been talking about all this time. And that's super important to manage yourself. So again, arm yourself, manage yourself, and finally, focus yourself. And here's kind of the rub here. I want you to ignore all the casino BS, all the things that they do to screw you and get you out of these things. The way they get you away from your discipline and your mindset and your strength is to turn money into chips, to turn money into pieces of paper now that say, it used to be you get quarters. Remember the old days, you get quarters out of a slot? Now you get a piece of paper that says how much money you're worth. So easy to just drop it into a different machine and not cash that in, right? They remove money from you and give you a doppelganger for money or a thing that it's not real. They make money not real. Don't fall for that. That's all real, okay? There's never a clock. You never know how long you're there. I'm going to tell you this. If you're there to do work, you better not be there very long. You better be in and be out, right? The clock shouldn't matter to you unless you're there for a fun night. Casinos are a maze. You got to pass by a billion slots and people and everything else to get to a bathroom even, right? Now the big thing, the center bar, right? You go, oh, the lights, and you walk to the center bar and you know, you're passing by and where's the center bar located? Near the pit where everybody's screaming, right? It's always about the excitement. It's the free drinks, it's the music, it's the atmosphere, it's the craps table going crazy, it's the roulette people high-fiving, right? The carpet is designed to keep you awake, believe it or not. The carpet is designed to be like this so you don't zone in on some brown-ass boring carpet, right? Other players are going nuts. The whole thing is very seductive. We talked about this with our friend Keith from the NCPG. Gamblers become problem gamblers for two reasons, right? One, a bunch of reasons, but primarily they start chasing loss and they start getting sucked in. There's a seduction and a sexiness to the casino. It's the lights. It's the sexy cocktail waitresses. It's the free drink. All these things are seductive and sexy and awesome, and you get lured into that, and you want more of that. And when you lose and you win, and sometimes you win a lot, right? And it's as easy. I can keep doing this, and you get brought in. Other things, other forms of addiction don't have that, right? There's a depression and a sadness that goes along with most substance abuse. Nobody's drinking to feel good anymore at some point, right? In gambling, there's always that, here I am again, right? That endorphin rush that you get. So they know this. And if you get sucked into this, right? If you're not focused, if you're not well managed, if you're not armed with knowledge, you're giving it up, folks. You're giving it up. And what I tell you is this: separate the gap between you and the casino. 90% of people walk in there with this giant ass gap. It's a huge disadvantage. You're already at a disadvantage with the house edge. They're going to get everybody's bread and butter, including yours. Unless you get lucky, the house edge is the bread and butter. They're going to get it from you over time, no matter what. You got to know that going in. But don't give them, like I say, don't give them the steak and risotto. Don't give them a bite of your souffle. Nothing. Don't give them anything. Don't go out there with a $5,000 bankroll trying to win 10% with a 20% stop loss and dip in to your master bankroll more and more and more because, I got it, it's going well. Or I got it, I need it to make the next bet. That's the dessert. That's them dipping in to your extras. That's where they make their extra money, right? Don't do that. Close the gap. Don't get sucked into the free drinks, the music, nothing. If you're going to do this to make money on the regular, go there and do work. And just put your horse blinders on and do your thing. Just do your thing, get in and get out. Ignore all the noise. Be armed with knowledge. Have self-discipline. Know your brain, okay? If you got your eyes open and you have a plan and you're brave enough and disciplined enough to stick to that plan, you might be on the hook and lose just the house edge and get lucky every once in a while. Okay. Otherwise, you're giving it up. Let everybody else pay the bills with the extra crap. Don't get sucked in. That's my message today. It's not an advantage to have knowledge and all that stuff. It closes the gap. It reduces the super disadvantage that you have walking in. They already have the edge. They're getting extra. Don't give them the extra. Be smart, be disciplined, have knowledge, and play within yourself. That'll keep you away from having a problem at some point. It'll also keep you away from having massive losses and this cycle of a depressing, sad state where you're giving it up. That is my message to you today. Close that gap. Close that gap. You're already at a big disadvantage. Make that disadvantage as small as possible. Make that disadvantage just a house edge and not you giving them extra. So I'm off my soapbox now. Okay. If you want some more information, by the way, there's some great videos here. Go to YouTube and search for casino psychology on YouTube. There's 3 videos that came up for me that I watched them. They were amazing videos. A lot of what I just said to you is on them. One of them is entitled Why Casinos Are Run by Psychopath Geniuses. It's a great video. She actually gets into gambling addiction and mentions a lot of the same things that I've mentioned here, but she really gets into like how that affects your brain, like what part of your brain gets affected by the lights or the carpet or whatever else. It's fantastic. The Magic Economics of Gambling is great. It is a good breakdown of how House Edge works and the psychology of, this bet and this bet. When they changed the edge, when they said it was a fair game, 50-50 bet, nobody played. When they said, okay, for the same chances, I'll pay you a little bit more if this happens, everybody goes to gamble. Great look at your psychology plus the way House Edge works. Okay. A third video that I thought was cool was the insane tricks casinos use to take your money. Again, it goes through the psychological pieces of all the setups and stuff. There's a couple of videos there from guys that wear masks that used to work in casinos that have to hide their identity. Great stuff. So go search those things on YouTube. Enjoy it. It's a good rabbit hole to be in. That's a great rabbit hole, and you'll have your eyes open. Some things you're going to know because you've heard it before. Some things will be new information. You're like, oh, wow, I never considered some of that. To me, what it all comes down to, like I said before, is this notion of separating yourself from them. Bring that gap in a little bit, right? Focus on you, manage your money and your brain, and arm yourself with knowledge. And I think if you can do all those things, you're going to set yourself up to have a better chance at success and a better chance of not getting destroyed the way that they wish you would. All that stuff is there to destroy people. Don't be somebody who gets destroyed. All right. Yeah, that's all I've got on that thing there. I'm going to go to questions and answers here. It's about quarter of. Let's check some PCs, and then if we have a little bit of time, I may go back and roll some dice. Let's see. What else have we had here? I've answered some of those questions before. Dan says I have 6 more days on the odds maker. You have a higher win-loss ratio. Test the higher level and 0 stop. I will. So I'm going to test it every day. What I told, I was talking to Jen about this on the phone yesterday. I'm not going to switch the strategy now. Like I've already gone in and said, we're $2,500. We're looking to win the 250. I'm not going to change this month how I play the strategy for the paycheck. I'm not. I will run that second bankroll though. Like this morning I ran 2 bankrolls. I'll do it again every day. I'll run both bankrolls so we can get a sense of what it looks like over time. So I will run that second bankroll and we'll get a look at how it goes. But I'm not going to change the stats with those numbers. It would be unfair to every strategy that I've run so far to do that. I'm going to keep it the same levels I've been playing it at. Next month, if we like this idea, I will change and do a little bit higher bet values. Does that make sense? All right. Waylon, how would the odds maker with 1 come bet with odds to it, essentially 2 pass lines versus 1 bigger DC? I have considered that. I've also considered, I don't know, it becomes more of a reverse horseman in that case, right? It becomes more of a pass, don't pass instead of a don't pass, come. Those things are all rhythm based, right? It's the order in which the bets go. But yeah, the PSO is a crusher, right? In that circumstance, the only problem with doing a come bet in there is as I worry about, okay, that's great to protect that bet, but then the third bet with the DC, now I got 3 bets against the 7 that I'm worried about. I don't know. I don't know. To me, roll it out. If you would, take a shot at it, right? Do your modifications to it. We've talked about doing flats only. I ran a wind crap simulation on this thing yesterday. I did like 6 variations of it where I did always max odds. I did it with odds going before the don't come bet. I've done it with only flats. I've done it where I've said if I hit a come out winner, stack it up. If I stack it up, don't take odds. I've tried every variation. The one that works the best of all of them, single flat bet, progressive odds. It's the one that wins the most. The way it is right now, in all those sims that I've tried so far, it's the one that wins the most. Even going max odds, even if I do my current pattern but max odds on both bets, it wins about $1,000. The way I'm doing it now, it wins about $4,000. And I'm using it against the current set of rolls. So I'm open to any options, always. Running out there for sure. EduFit, I wonder if you would have had more success earlier with the bigger approach. Yeah, I would have. The thing is, I did lose 2 days in a row, right? And my friend JB, he's the guy that got me started really getting more serious about this way of thinking on this strategy. He's like, I can't wait until you go upside down twice in a row. You go in there for $2,500 and you lose it all 2 days in a row, you're going to break your stick, right? And he said, I can't wait to watch you do that. And he's right. I'd get so mad if I did that. But ultimately, you've got $25,000 in the backing bankroll to be able to do that with. What's happening now is we're taking $25,000 bankroll, I'm taking $2,500, and at worst, I'm losing a few $100. The impact of that loss against the big bankroll is nothing. If I lose $2,500, that's a slice out of the master. That's going to hurt. And yeah, I don't know how my brain's going to react to that. Probably going to go a little crazy for sure. I don't know yet, Arcades, what I'm going to run after the odds. I have not yet decided. I don't know. What we find with the paycheck strategies is that the ways we like to play craps, like 64 or a cross bet, let's say, 160 across, whatever it's going to be, and a bunch of presses, doesn't work for a paycheck. It works for a home run. You'll hit I'll win 10 grand and I'll lose $1,000 8 times, right? There's not enough consistent juice there. What I find with the paycheck strategies is it's more of the line stuff, the come betting stuff. Obviously the red cross has done well. I think once I get to where my buy-in is $5,000, it's going to be a battle of like 6, 7, 8 red cross odds maker kind of thing. I don't know yet next month what I'm going to do. I got to decide what I'm going to do. Duracell asks me, in win craps, I do both. I'm using right now, I'm taking up till today's numbers, up to all the daily paycheck rolls. I've imported them into win craps, and I'm running that because it's a known set of outcomes. And I'm saying, how does oddsmaker do with all the variations against the same set of rolls? And that way I can say, given this set of rolls, we can see one way of playing it actually lost 2 grand. One way of playing it wins 4 grand. You can start figuring that out. And then what I do is I take those 2 extremes and then I run it in win craps against the RNG and say, do I still get the same split? Is this thing still winning more and this thing still losing more when I go random number generator versus my actual over and over throws? And you find that they largely do. You will find in the RNG that you get weird, they switch, weird runs happen in the RNG. But yeah, I vet my rolls first because I can run the same set of rolls and it's a fair test, I think, to do that. And that's how I typically do it. And then I go RNG to prove it at the end. So, all right, other questions. Let me see, any cues? No other cues. Jen did say she loves the simultaneous second bankroll. For sure, I don't ever massage the results. You should know that by now. I never do that. It's good to see it though. It's good to see that what I'm saying with the 5 blacks and the 5 purples is the same. And actually the 5 purples has the advantage, believe it or not, because 5 blacks only gives you 20 green chips, where 5 purples gives you 25 black chips. I get 5 extra chips to play with when I'm doing it with purples. All right, I think that's it, guys. It's 8:50. I don't know. I mean, I can go run some craps for you. Want to play a little bit? I guess I'll roll for 10 minutes just because why not? Let me go here and see. Yeah, let's do it. Let me, what do you want to do? I haven't done any like crazy pressing in a while. Actually, what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna do, let's see, let's take the blacks out of here. We don't need the black chips today. We're gonna go, I'll put that over here. Let's take a $500 bankroll. And I'm gonna do the skill 66 with you because it's been a while. So that'll be $9 change here. And the reason why I'm gonna talk to you about this whole win goal thing while I'm doing it. Let's go 18 and 18. So the thing I like about this strategy, I also don't like because we're missing out on a couple of numbers. I don't like missing the 4 and 10. But if you're thinking about, okay, how can we talked to you guys about units, right? How fast can I win X number of units? I'm gonna take $500, which is, let's just say it's 5 units, and I wanna win 1 unit, 20% win goal, 1 unit, okay? What am I gonna risk? The goal statement, I'm gonna risk $500 to win 100, okay? On this session, I'm doing that. On this shooter, I'm gonna risk 1.5 units. Let's say the unit is $50. Let's say unit is $25. I got $66 out here. I'm gonna risk like 2.5 units. It's not quite 75. You could call it 75 and say 3. I'll risk 3 units to win 2. You're basically gonna lay bet. Think about that. Risking 3 units, essentially the $75, sorry, to win 2 units. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Let's make an assumption. Okay, let's take the 7 out of there. Let's make it a 9. Let's say our point is 10. Let's run the strategy. Again, risking about $75. The first one we know wins 21. We drop our dollar. We do our press. I'll put the press up front just to kind of make it easy on myself, right? There's our press. We're gonna go to 20 and 24. The second hit is gonna win $28, okay? When I pull this back down, there's $5 in whites. There's $20 that I put out there. That brings back $50. Okay, so we put out about 3 units. If the move works, you get 2 hits in here. You pull back 2 units. Risk 3 to win 2. You're essentially lay betting right here. That's essentially what the skill 66 is a lay bet. But if I can do this move 2 times, that's my $100 win goal. So I'm gonna risk 3 to win 2 times to get out. And that's what I mean by goal setting and mindset. Now, is it gonna work all the time? No, it's not gonna work all the time. I guarantee you that we're gonna fail at least once trying this out today, right? But if you think about that being your basic goal, this strategy is a way to get you there with a scoped number of wins. Again, the win size is a quarter. We're looking to win 2 units per hit twice. Let's roll it out and see what happens. Okay, and again, very simple strategy, right? But it illustrates the point of, A, it's kind of a tinkerer, two 7s in a row, there's a 4-3. It's a tinkerer kind of strategy that's skill, 3 7s in a row. Maybe this is gonna knock all the 7s out for us, right? But it's also very conservative. Another 7, that's 4 7s, 4 come out 7s in a row. Good Lord, Johnny. Can we get out of the gate? No, it's an 11, yo. Look at the front line. If you're betting by the way, if you're betting the pass line here, just because I want to, look at the parlay press right now. I want to show you what would have happened. If you're betting the streak, let's just do this because I'm a little sidebar. First hit, the first 7, I'm gonna have to count them. That was the first 7. We parlay it. The second hit, you win your parlay and you rack your 2 greens. The third hit, you parlay it. The fourth hit, you hit your parlay, and now you reduce down to a 3-unit bet. That goes into your rack. And now on the 5th hit, you're gonna win 3 units. And then right now we're in a 6-unit. If I'm doing my parlay press, I'm in a 6-unit parlay, and I've got a 7-unit win racked up. My initial bet plus 6, I'm 6 units up. By the way, if you're doing a hammer the streak thing, like I talk about hitting the variant, parlay press right there just hammered it. If you're doing a paroli in here, holy crap, right? Parlay, that's a 15, 16 unit win right there. Okay, anyway, I digress. I wanted to show that because that's kind of, when that happens, right? That's the kind of shit that almost never happens. And when it does happen, you have to say, look, that's why I bet the way I do down here. Sometimes I lose that parlay, but when that streak happens like that, money in the bank. And here goes the 6-unit parlay going bye-bye on a 1, 2, 3. But you gave it the shot and won a bunch. Here we go. All right, on a 6. There we go. Hey, now 2 inside hits. Again, I'm risking 3 units, essentially 3 units. Let's put that dollar back to win 2. I'm laying the board to win 2. Betting 3 to win 2. Can I get 2 hits? There's a 5, a 3-2. 21. And again, I'll just put these bets, I'll put them up top here. Whoops. Come on, Johnny. There we go. There's 1 hit. There's an 11 yo. If I can get a second inside hit, I'll give you some new math. Ready? 5, 3, 8. We know it pays $28. We're going to bring everything down. Back to 66. I'm missing a nickel somewhere. Okay, there's our $50 coming back. Now, if I put this back in the rack, and I look at where I am right now. Now I'm risking how much? What's my actual risk? I'm going to try and do that move again. I have 1 unit at risk, right? I'm back to my rack. I have $75 here. I'm missing 1 green chip. I have bets out here. Now my statement, I'm risking 1 unit, because that's what I'm actually down on my rack, to win 2. Now I'm not laying anymore. Now I'm in a power spot. If I happen to lose it, I'm losing 1 unit, not 3 units. See how that works when you refresh your rack? Here we go. Let's make this happen. There's a 6, 4, 2, 6. That's the point. I'll drop another dollar. We'll do the press again. Let the 7 breathe on the come out. Our point's going to be a 9. And here we go. Money shot time. Catch a money shot? We do. We hit the 9. 5, 4, 9. So dig it. 5, 4, 9. $28. Puck is going to be off. Now I've won $50 twice. There's my nickel. There's my quarter. There's my starting bankroll. And all of this can come down. If I take what's in my rack, the other whites that I've got, we should be at 1, 2. There is $75, 15, 20. Basically $100, okay? Minus a couple of whites that we threw in there. So there it is. There's winning 20% and going by unit math, right? Risked 3 units to win 2, pocketed that $50. Now I'm risking 1 unit to win 2 units, and then I'm out with my $100. And that is a simple, and again, thank God it worked the first time through, right? So I can make a great example of it, but that's a look at reduction of risk as you go too, right? As you make that happen, the second time coming through it, your risk level goes down as you replenish your rack. Could I keep playing? Sure. But you know what? $100 profit is also my goal. It's what I came here to do. Now, if I happened to have won $140, let's say, I would play the $40 and keep the 100. That's that whole idea of being satisfied with your win and locking things down. So there's a little example of unit-based math, unit-based betting. And again, if those numbers were black chips instead of green chips, it's the same play. It's the same play. It's just that instead of greens, or instead of $15 up there, it's going to be $75 up there. You're doing 3 greens instead of 3 reds. It's the same move, folks. The same move. Just depends on how much money you've got. Here we go. Come on back. Come on back. All right. I think that's it. How about that? Making $100 in 9 minutes, right? You gotta love it. If I could do that every day, right? Wouldn't it be fantastic? Okay, y'all, thanks again. We have how many people here with 30 people, only 30 people here? Usually there's more than that. But I appreciate y'all being here, right? I appreciate all the time that you spend with me. 2 hours every day, right? You spend with me, and I appreciate that. And I hope that the messaging is strong. I hope that as emphatic as I am about some of this mindset stuff, I know I'm not rolling craps every day and giving you like the next best way to win, right? That's not what this show is about. It never really was. This is more about getting you ready to play. Pro Craps channel, I will do more strategies and more how to get playing craps. This is gonna be more brain work. So I know it's not for everybody, but it's wickedly important. And I just, if you know somebody who needs to hear the message, share it with them, please. All right, that's it, guys. I appreciate all the likes. And again, I'm gonna ask for it for the first time in a couple of years. Start telling people about our channel here. I'd like to get Casino Gaming TV to 10,000 subscribers if I can before October. Then we can do the Craps for the Cure through our own YouTube channel and not have to go around the wheel to get the donations without fees that YouTube usually charges. So we got to get to that number. So start spreading the word, will you? That's it, folks. God bless y'all. Love you. Thank you very much for being here. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye, all.